Hey everybody, our personality tests a bunch of psychological BS? Probably, because I took 3 tests today from 3 different companies. I took 2 more, but they wanted me to pay them money before they would tell me the results. So I'm not even going to post. I'm not even going to do video. I did videos, but I'm not even going to post those videos because they just wanted money. So I took the tests and they just wanted money. So I'm not even going to post the videos about the tests I took. But on the Boo dating app, I originally was an INTJ, which they call a mastermind. I did a video about that. Unfortunately, they didn't, for some unknown reason, they Boo made the videos I did about Boo, they made them black. So all you do is hear me talking. You don't see what I'm reading from. Anyway, and that was when I had the date app 6 months, a year, probably a year or so ago. So I took it again, you know, today, and I did a video. I did a video of me taking the date app. Doing the personality test on there. And it turned out that now I switched from an INTJ to a ISTJ, which a ISTJ was this is the Breyers Miggs Squid or whatever 16 personality test, by the way, that I'm talking about. ISTJ is a realist. So yeah. So I switched from being a mastermind to a realist. But later, I decided to go to a different company and take another personality test. And that one said I was INTP, which, what is INTP? Debater, yeah. So I went from a mastermind to a realist to a debater, and then the last one was ENTP. ENTP. So all this time I'm an I, which is introvert, and then somehow the last test I took, I switched from being an introvert to an extrovert. The only things that remained, an ENTP is logic, the logical guy. The only thing that remained the same throughout the whole thing was T. So I'm a T no matter what, apparently. The other things that stayed the same most of the time was I. It was 3 I's, then it was 1 E. It was an N, then an S, then an N, then an N. So 3 N's. It was 3 T's. So, 4 T's. It's always T. So, there's always T. And then there was 2 P's and 2 J's. So if I do the math, I wrote them down there. If I do the math, 3 I's should make me an I. So I'm predominantly an I with occasional E switch. Then 3 N's mean I'm predominantly an N with the occasional S switch. Always T. So according to, and then I got 2 P's and 2 J's, so that's a switch. So according to this, I'm a INTJ/P because I can switch from J to P because 2 of my personalities both of them on B said I was J. Then two of them from two different companies both said P. T's always the same. N's usually the same. And I's usually the same. So from this, from that math, it looks like I'm an INTJP. Now, what does any of that mean? Well, I did a video talking about all of those. So you got to go watch each one of those videos to know what those different videos mean. But in my opinion, what it means is that it's just a bunch of, no offense, but I think it just means that the psychological tests are just a bunch of what we would call psychiatrists, zodiac. They can't possibly mean anything if you can take literally one test and an hour later take another test from a totally different company and it be a different amount. So if different companies are not, if different companies' tests are not giving the same conclusive results from the same people, then we can only conclude that they're lies. Because for science to work effectively and efficiently, you should be staying with the same personality your whole entire life, right? Well, apparently you don't stay with personalities your whole entire life. Apparently, if you ask different companies to do different personality evaluations from you, you will get different results. And also, apparently, if you wait a year, you've developed a new personality. So that doesn't make any sense. If you were a set cookie cutter mold type person, you would have the same personality. It wouldn't change from company to company. It wouldn't change from year to year. Either that or some crazy psychologist might just try to say, "Oh, you have multi-personality disorder." Yeah, maybe I do. Or maybe your 16 personality test quiz thing is flawed. Or maybe it's all a bunch of bull. I mean, most of the tests you take want you to spend money. If they don't want you to spend money to find out what your test results are, they want you to spend money on buying a kit, like a 40. They want like $30, so you can get this full 40-page booklet. That tells you more about your personality test. So let me get this straight. I get a 40-page booklet about my individual personality test, my individual results, which that's like almost $1 a page to get this book. It's crazy. Well, it's not quite $1 a page. It's more like about 80 something cents a page. You're going to be reading that like a whole book. You're going to be reading. So and the whole thing is, I think it's probably going to be a PDF, right? PDF file. So you'll have to read it off of your computer or your phone or whatever, right? It's not like something that and if you wanted to read it in an actual book form, you would have to print off the PDF file, right? Um, so hopefully you don't accidentally delete it off your phone before, reading the full thing, or before. Anyway, like I said, two of the apps tried to get me to pay $2. No, was it two? Oh no, it was three. It was three of them tried to get me to pay $2. I did two videos, which I won't post because that's just dumb. Of me taking personality tests, and when I got to the end, they wanted me to pay money. to they wanted me to pay money just so I could see the full results of the answers. For one, and they wanted me to pay money. Like, seriously. Okay, so when I looked up uh, when I looked up one to when I looked up one on the internet to read more about it, which I told you about it, that was the one at the end where it told me that. So let's just think about this. So if I paid $30 for one book, what if I wanted, a comprehensive book on all 16? So that would be 16 times 30, right? That would be like six. They're literally making money because since there's only 16, um, according to theirs, there's only 16 personalities. Now, one place said there was an A and a B personality of the 16. So now what they're doing is they just divided those 16 into an A and B to make there more than 16. So now 16 times 2 is 32. Okay, so now they've just created 32 personalities so they can make even more money. It just seems like it's a capitalist scam, a psychologist scam that's being run by these psychologists, and it doesn't really answer anything, doesn't really tell anything. It kind of like my thoughts with the zodiac. Like when I was doing the zodiac video, the stuff you read off of each person's zodiac could like apply to like at least half of the people, right? So, of course they can get a lot of stuff right about you because half the people that's going to be true about anyway, regardless of what their zodiac was. That's what I kept saying in that zodiac video. Um, so if you want to go watch that one, you can go watch that one too. So with this personality test, there's 16 of them. So that's four more than the zodiac. So by default, you kind of can figure it out. Anyway, there's like literally no scientific backing for any of this. It's gone through multiple incarnations, uh, and there's some ugly truth to it. And you could go watch another video that I watched earlier when I looked up personality tests, and a video from YouTube popped up, and I went and watched it. Uh, anyway, he was given the history and stuff, and there's literally no scientific backing for any of this, but it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that makes billions of dollars off of businesses and corporations to try to somehow put individuals in the right category for jobs, which makes no sense because if I go to work for one company and I take a personality test and I get different and then I take another personality test to get hired from a different company, and so on and so forth. During my um, resume, not resume, shucks, application. Yeah. So if I say just for the sake of argument that I take a personality test for one job with one application and then another job with another application. Based off of this, I took three today, three, and all three of them were led to different results. So if I was to do that all day long with different companies and different jobs, theoretically, I'm going to get multiple results because you would think that you would at least stay the same more time than not, but no. Uh, there's only I and E, S and N, J and P, and T and something else. That's all that exists, right? So if that's the case, um, each letter has two possibles. So that's why there's 16 different ones because 4 times 4 is 8, doubled is 16. That's, that's the mathematical probability. So anyway, so I got J's and P's equally on the 4 different tests. I got always got T. I got 3 N's but 1 S. And the interesting thing is N and S switched literally on the same company's personality quiz, the Boo Date app. So in 1 year, the N and the S switched. How is that possible? That's the only thing that switched because it was INTJ, then it was ISTJ. And that was the Boo dating app personality test that I took. The only thing that switched was from N to S. Okay. Then the very same day that I took the new test, I took 2 additional tests that would let me know the results. And the N, the S changed back to an N, and the J turned into a P. Then I took another one, and the I turned into an E. The N stayed, the T stayed, and the P stayed. So so come on. This system literally makes no sense. So if I was to take multiple tests from multiple job companies, they would get multiple different results. So this job would think I was this, while that business would think I was that. So all it tells me is that it's BS. It's just BS. I did my own experiment with it, thinking I would learn more about myself, but I think I just learned that the personality types is total hogwash, total malarkey, because it doesn't explain things. I think the political compass test is more accurate because when I take it, no matter how many times I take it from different companies and different corporations and different things, I get closer to the same results on it. But the personality tests, again, every time I take one, I get a different personality. I think I've took them before, and I think I've had even additional personalities than these 4 right here. So that's crazy. So I think that they're just a sham and a scam, and that while they might tell some information about you, if you switch and you can switch so much, does that really make it any accurate? Because I have 4 different ones of the 16. 4 different ones out of 16. That's a fourth. So what if you had, so I got a fourth. So are you just trying to now tell me that you're only right, I mean, that means I have 25% of all 4 of the systems. Now, I don't know how it works on other people, but that's just seems how it worked on me. So maybe other people it works with, but maybe some people it just doesn't work with. I don't know. But anyway, go watch the videos if you want. They're pretty they're kind of entertaining, but it's just doesn't seem like it's real. It doesn't seem like it's right. Just seems like something's off. Something's wrong. Something's off and something's wrong. Uh, so I don't know what my personality is any more now than I did from there. I mean, what am I? A mastermind, realist, debater, logical debater. So I'm a so so let me see here. From this perspective, it looks like yeah. I mean, is that it? Is that what I am? I'm a combination of those 4. I mean, like which one's higher? I'm even between J and P. T, I'm always T. N's the highest and I's the highest. So, like I said, more than likely, if I'm doing my math right here, I'm a INTJP, but every once in a while, my I can switch to an E, and every once in a while, my N can switch to an S. So, 75% of the time, just based off of the ones I did today, I'm an introvert. 25% of the time, I'm an extrovert. 75% of the time, I'm whatever the N stands for. The other 25%, I'm the S. I'm always the T, and I'm half and half P and J. Y'all know what y'all personality is? Have y'all ever took any of these personality tests? Comment down below, because I think it's just, I think they're pulling our chain. I think that they somehow corporations have figured out a way to make money and try to control you with the personality test. Which I think this pretty much debunks psychology in general. Because the more things you read about psychology, the more it just seems like intellectual zodiac. Psychology, the intellectual zodiac. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. I mean, you would expect maybe a change. Your personalities might change as you grow. That makes a little bit of sense. That's why the year one is so close, except for the N and the S changed. But how do you? But if that was the case, then that would make some sense. But why does different businesses, different people putting on different personality tests, um, come up with you being a different personality than another business did? So, like, depending on which, so now not only do you have to worry about this business hiring this business and that business hiring that business, but what if they're not using the same You know, I mean, what if the two different businesses aren't using the same business to uh, find out what the personality test is for the individual employee? So this is kind of the reason why I don't really do. I've done spiritual gifts tests too, and spiritual gifts tests. The difference between spiritual gifts tests and the political compass test are most of the time they stay closer to the same within the same parameters. Um, and I usually get the same spiritual gifts, and I usually get around the same political ideology. The political ideology one's interesting because it changes a little bit too um, every time I take it, but it doesn't change like drastically. Like these are some drastic changes. Switching a whole letter to another letter. I don't know what y'all think. Comment down below because this is just boggling my mind. Yes, yes I do. As I read all the different types that that it claims I am, I did notice that some of the things were true and that they did apply to me. So that made a little bit of sense. So whatever. I mean, come on, it's craziness. Anyway, remember God is good all the time. All the time, God's good. Keep on gaming. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Jesus loves you. Jesus God. Jesus Lord. Jesus King. Jesus ruler. Everything. Hype the video if you want. You know, join the channel if you want. You know, whatever. So, really, really crazy. That's just some crazy stuff that, you know. And I would have did more personality tests, but after I did 3 of them, after I did 2 of them that said spend money, and then I did a third one. Then I did an IQ test. In the IQ test, you know what they wanted me to, so that I could find out what my IQ was? They wanted me to send them money. Look, I'm smarter than that. My IQ is so high that I know I'm not going to waste money sending you money to find out what my IQ test is. My IQ must be high enough because it has to be high. They literally said I was doing the IQ test faster than other people. They literally also said that I was getting more answers right, but they wouldn't tell me what the number was. Maybe if it's high enough, the Mensa people will see whatever the test that I took, and they'll be calling me up, be like, "Jeff, you're a genius. You want to go to the Mensa thing?" And I'll be like, "What do you mean I'm a genius?" And they'll be like, "Your IQ was blah," and I would be like, "Okay." And plus, I don't really believe in that too because IQ is only intelligence quotient. There's like other Qs too. I read a book one time that talked about how there was like 7 different types of intelligence, from intellectual to emotional to some other ones. So it was a decent read. It was a pretty good read. It was interesting, and they so you know it just they didn't so they didn't so they convinced me that there's multiple levels of intelligence. So no, I don't trust the IQ. I'm too smart to trust one level of intelligence. I'm too smart to trust one type of personality. Uh, I need to, and if all the different places that you get this information from, if they're all not compatible with one another, then I don't see how we can trust the whole entire system, because you should be able to take the personality quiz and it be the same no matter what stage of your life, unless you can change personalities as you grow. And you should be able to take the personality test or quiz from any assortment of corporations and businesses all in the same day, and they still have the same answer. They should not fluctuate. Anyway, let's talk about it. Comment down below what you think in the comments. You think the personality 16 personality test, you think it's accurate, you think it's good, you think it's true, you think it's bull. What do you think? You think it might be a combination of some of it's right, some of it's wrong, which is the same with the zodiac. I'm pretty sure if you observe humankind for a couple of 100 years or whatever, you can come up with some pretty accurate statements for the majority of humans. So you can then put those accurate statements in the description of what month someone was born or what they answer on their personality quiz or test or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, later.